Welcome on my presentation on Adrian Piper for my honors essay. So Adrian Piper was born 1948. She was born in 1948 on September 20th, and she was born to an upper-class family in New York, so she spent most of her younger years in school, being in private schools where she was mostly surrounded by white people. And when she first got to higher education / college, she started going in for visual arts, where she ended up getting her associates. But then she ended up changing to philosophy, something she was more interested at the time, and she ended up getting her master's from Harvard, with some of her major influences in her art being Immanuel Kant, Sully Witt, and Villon Rayner. Now, before we even get started into the meat and potatoes of everything, I gotta say that the library's been a great resource for me. The person that helped me was Edema Jones. They were fantastic. I would recommend if you need any assistance in a library for finding any sources, or just for anything you need help with. She's great. Now, one of the main topics that Adrian Piper covers in her art is identity and race, and she shows that excellently through her interviews and such, but in the case of art, she does it amazingly through the mythic being character, which she had made originally just for an advertisement, where she released one card every month for a year. But then she ended up pouring so much into the character that she just ended up to make art with it. And one of her first collections of arts was, I believe, 5 or 6 photos, and the series for the art was like I and you, a part of the mythic being, I/you, a part of the mythic being, like, character. And it basically covers a story about betrayal, and it's important because the mythic being is supposed to be like a masculine. Adrian Piper's perception of what a masculine black man should be. So you see the character starting calm from being betrayed, and they like reason him. But then the more recipes takes, the more the mythic being takes over. It just becomes more aggressive, and it becomes like irrational in a way because of how like tunnel vision it is about on this betrayal. And it's very important to her, to like the character and her art. And another thing that's really important to the mythic being is I'm the locust. It's where the mythic being is crossing down the street, and the entire time it's saying I'm the locust for consciousness. Basically telling itself that it's the center of the universe, and it's walking down. Then it talks about how it's surrounded by soulless animatronics, and they have like fleshy, pulsating flesh. Then it gets like more upset as it gets darker, and she ends up removing the background with the final photo saying, "Get out of my way," in like an aggressive tone, with her in the last photo just ending up covering the background with an oil crayon, which she does for the other slides. But in the first one, it just starts off as like a text bubble above her head, and it just gets progressively deeper and more aggressive. And it pertains to identity because the mythic being is trying to be seen. It's like a loud character in a way, but because it's not being seen in a while, and you can see how in the photo others are just either not caring about existence or just looking the other way. So it plays into this like masculine character and what society and Adrian Piper defined as a black male. Now, philosophy and her work is also very there, mostly from the philosopher Immanuel Kant. Both of these are inspired by him, but Kant has a direct series of again photographs that Adrian Piper covers with oil crayon, where it covers his philosophy and how things are intertwined and such, and it basically talks about who is actually the person that gets to decide what's wrong from what's right, and who gets to decide this is good in a person, this is bad in a way. And while this is just the Everything series, where you can see how the first one, the person's face is like sanded down with the letters. Everything will be taken away. And on the right one, it's in a way specifically talking about death, because mirrors are used as a symbol for death. Though it's not just relating to death, it's retaining how everything will be taken away. Anything you can think of will be taken away. Knowledge, information, resources to things will eventually all be taken away. And I feel like all the things I'm talking about were like really interesting to me. Specifically this one, because it's really thinking about like in a dystopian world where we don't have access to certain things and how it can happen. But and then for this one specifically, the calling cards are part of an exhibit where she handed out calling cards to those who wanted it. Basically, in a way, the top one is more endearing, where she's talking about how she's not here to be saved, or she doesn't want to be saved, and she doesn't want to be basically approached. She just wants to be herself, and then it just respects privacy. But then for the bottom one, it's like when she would give to someone who did her wrong through racism and such, to where she hopes that, and where in the end she hopes that the racism, that makes, she hopes that the person regrets her racism for the discomfort that it gave her. So yeah, that's like a little like excerpt of what she is and what she has done and what she's still doing. Overall, great artist. Thank you for listening to my presentation.